Question 4. Explain 4 ways in which prophetic messages were written down. Yes? How are they written down? The prophets themselves wrote the messages. How are they written down? So who wrote it? Number 1, the prophets themselves. Some prophets dictated their message to their scribes. So this means that the scribes are the ones who wrote. Disciples preserved their master's teachings. Disciples of the prophets collected writings of the people. They collected the writings of the people. And then the scribes reorganized the prophets' teachings. They reorganized them so that they can be able to be written down according to subject matter. So they reorganized the prophets' teachings. Question 4b. Highlight teachings of Prophet Amos or remnant and restoration. Let us read Amos chapter 9 verse 8 to 15.
Amos chapter 9 verse 8 to 15. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful creature, and I will destroy it from the surface of the ground, except that I will utterly destroy, except that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, says the Lord. For I will command and shake the house of Israel among all the nations, as one shakes with a sieve, but no pebble shall fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. So say, evil shall not overtake all matters. In that day I will rise up, the booth of David that is fallen, and repair its breaches, and rise up its ruins, and rebuild it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all the nations who are called by my name. Say the Lord who does this. Behold, the days are coming, says the Lord, when the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him who sows the seed. The mountains shall drip sweet wine, and all the hills shall flow with it. I will restore the fortunes of my people Israel, and they shall rebuild the ruined cities and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyard and drink their wine, and they shall make gardens and eat their fruit. I will plant them upon their land, and they shall never again be plucked up out of the land which I have given them, says the Lord your God.
Thank you. So Prophet Amos on remnant and restoration, he said that he would reunion the kingdom of David, he said Israel will conquer the enemies. There would be prosperity in agriculture. The exiles will be restored back. That is, they will be restored back to their land. Cities rebuild. Settle permanently. They was to settle permanently the promised land. And then a descendant of King David would rule forever. All nations would recognize the supremacy of God. Give 5 ways in which the church is promoting social justice in Kenya today. Ways in promoting social justice is number 1, providing public education on civil education. Just say providing public civil education. Providing to the public civil education. Respecting laws of the country. Providing for the needy. That is how they promote a just society. Praying for justice. They condemn injustices. So I said number 1, they provide civil education. If they are providing to the public, and then they respect laws of the country. Providing for the needy, praying for justice, condemning injustices. They urge the government to distribute resources fairly. That is how they promote social justice. Question 5a. Outline the problems faced by Prophet Nehemiah when rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. The problems, this you know, tell me. Yes, true. Yes, the threats. Yes. True. So what were the problems faced by Nehemiah? Lack of cooperation, opposition from Tobiah and Sanballat, oppression of the poor, there was misuse of the temple, or you can say misuse of temple offerings, violation of the Sabbath, ridiculed by Tobiah and Sanballat, threats of violence, he was discouraged. Who discouraged him? The false prophets. There was also food shortage, the whole of Jerusalem. That was also a problem. Inadequate manpower. Remember, the manpower was supposed to complete the work. So inadequate manpower. Then some Jews broke the Mosaic law. They broke the Mosaic law by some married foreign wives. Question 5b. State 7 reforms carried out by Nehemiah in Israel after Babylonian exile. So reforms after Babylonian exile. After exile, what were the reforms that Nehemiah carried out? Number one, there was cleansing of the temple. Reinstating Levites. Sabbath observance. There was separation. And here we're talking about separation from foreigners. There was also purification of the priesthood. Or you can say of the Levites if you want to. Denouncing mixed marriages. Denounced mixed marriages. This is whereby the marriages were between the Jews and the foreigners. Another reform was renewing the covenant. Appointed trustworthy treasurers. Another reform is he confessed. He confessed his sins publicly. He confessed that he was overtaxing the people. So another reform was the tithing system. He reformed the tithing system. And he rededicated the walls again. And he ensured the people were loyal to the Mosaic law. Question 5C. State 5 reasons why it is difficult to carry out political reforms in Kenya today. Why is it difficult to carry political reforms? Lack of political goodwill. One cannot carry political reforms because there is tribalism. Tribalism. We have weak institutions. We are talking about institutions that carry out reforms. They are weak. For example, if we wanted to have a political reform, we would also talk about the IEBC, right? Also, many political parties lack clear reforms agenda. So lack clear reforms agenda. Lack of vision. You could have even started with inadequate finances. In order to carry out any political reform, you need finances. So inadequate finances. Lack of patriotism. That means that you don't love your country enough. Selfishness. Question 6A. Explain 7 roles performed by the ancestors in traditional African communities. So the ancestors act as mediators. They give instructions. to be done during occasions. Certain occasions. They give instructions. They warn on impending punishment. Those are roles of the ancestors. Warn of impending punishment. They deliver messages from spirit world. Deliver message. They provide a sense of identity. We are able to identify with them as the living. So they provide a sense of identity. When you say, I come from particular family, they are custodians of culture, or you can say cultural practices, cultural beliefs. They are the custodians. They punish those who break taboos. So they punish those who break taboos. Protect the community. They also intercede on behalf of the community. They intercede for the needs of the community from God. So they intercede for the community's needs to God. When you talk about the roles of ancestors, it's bless the living. And then they act as reservoir of names. They have a reservoir of names for children of the living. State 7 importance of kingship ties in traditional African society. Importance of kingship ties. Yes. If you're related to someone, what is the importance? Number 1, unites the family, or it unites the clan or the society. It unites the family. Gives identity. And if you don't want to say it gives identity, you say it gives a sense of belonging. Regulate people's behavior. Determines marriage relationship. Determines marriage relationship. Promotes peace. Ensures smooth inheritance. Here we're talking about inheritance of properties upon death. Preserves cultural identity. Preserves cultural identity. Ensures disadvantaged members are taken care of. Here we are talking about orphans, widows. So kinship ties ensure disadvantaged members are taken care of. Disadvantaged members are taken care of. Define duties. Kinship ties define duties and responsibilities. and contribute towards traditional education. They contribute towards education. Because remember that the older relatives are the ones who are supposed to educate the young. So they contribute towards the traditional education. Question 6C. Give 6 changes that have taken place in the traditional African understanding of property. Changes in the understanding of property. So women and children may own property. Unlike there before in the African traditional society where only men would own property. So now women and children may own what? Property. Many children and women are seen as a liability. Not like there before in the traditional African society whereby they were part of the wealth, the man's wealth in the traditional African society. But the change is that many children, if you have many children or you have many women or many wives, they are seen as a liability, not they're no longer part of the wealth. Acquisition of wealth sometimes is unjust. You can get wealthy by grabbing land or by swindling. So acquisition of wealth sometimes is unjust, is done unjustly. Stress on individual ownership. There is individual ownership of land. As opposed to in the African traditional society, remember, you have to compare the two when you're writing. It was a communal ownership in the traditional African society. But now there is stress or emphasis on the individual ownership of land. Also, some men sell everything, leaving no inheritance. They sell everything, leaving no inheritance. Role of elders in sharing out land has been overtaken by the government agency. So the elders were supposed to share out land, but they have been overtaken by the government agencies. A document of proof of ownership of land is emphasized. What is the name of this document that is emphasized? Title deed. Title deed is emphasized. That is the document as proof of ownership of land.